Max, you did a very in-depth feature on Snapchat. What do we know about their plans for an IPO? How soon?
What we know is a rough valuation. They're seeking $25 billion, which, if a lot of people in Silicon Valley have been worried that there's some sort of the air is being taken out of the bubble. I mean, that'll give a lot of confidence because it's a big improvement over their last valuation. The other thing is they're trying to do this quickly. It's pretty stunning when you think about just how fast Snapchat's moving. They only added these basic measuring features that most of their competitors have, like in the past weeks and months, and they just announced this glasses thing. I mean, they just changed their name to Snap Inc., which I think I just made a mistake there. But in any case, it's pretty wild just how fast this story has moved, and this IPO is just sort of like the latest thing in what's been kind of a crazy 6 months.
So why do you think they're going forward with this now? I mean, I know there are a number of factors out there that they've said will affect their timing.
Right. Well, I think so. Part of it, I think, is they're trying to seize on some momentum. Facebook's Instagram just knocked off the basic functionality of Snapchat. I think there must be concern about that, and you sort of want to like seize the moment right now. It's been really good, and the other thing is, again, Snapchat's kind of unproven, so there may be a thought that like we may as well get public now rather than sort of risk some problem in the private markets. If private funding were to dry up in the coming 12 months or 18 months, that could be a real problem for Snapchat if it weren't public. So I think it could be sort of a combination of seizing the moment, but also just trying to time the market.
Now, I spoke with Twitter investor Chris Sacca earlier this week, and the first thing he did when he saw me is snap, not use Twitter, which he's been Twitter's biggest cheerleader for the longest time. Take a listen to what he had to say about Snapchat.
Snapchat is interesting in that what I think distinguishes it is less about the product and more about the product team. That's a company that's been willing and able to reinvent itself a few times now. They're just bold. They just take chances. And when they originally walked up to me after a talk I gave once and said, "We really love what you stand for. We love the way you work. We talk to other people, work with you. We want you in our deal." And I was like, they walked away, and I went home and I told my younger business partner, and he's like, "You said what?" And by the time we got back to Snapchat, they'd run away and done a deal with somebody else. It was a bummer. It probably cost us a few $1 billion.
So unfortunately for Sacca, he didn't get in on that deal, but others did. He's using the product innovation, the willingness to change as a positive, perhaps in comparison to Twitter, which hasn't changed. What do we know about the actual numbers here in terms of users and user growth and the actual market that Snapchat has been able to bite off?
I don't have the numbers handy. I think we're talking about 150 million daily actives, which is a big number. I'm not sure. Twitter has been sort of squirrely about its daily users in the past, but I think most people believe that Snapchat is seeing much better engagement than Twitter. And when you consider that the way that Snapchat has grown and how young it is, like, that's pretty impressive. The other thing about Snapchat right now is it's just cool. And I think one of the things that we've learned from watching the evolution of these social networks over the past decade is that sort of thing matters. And Twitter really seems to be struggling just to retain users, to get people excited about it, whereas Snapchat, as Chris Sacca is saying, I mean, they are just bringing out new products, new ideas, sort of these new shows constantly, and there's a there's a real sense of momentum.